Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode on the podcast. Today, we are going to be reviewing Lux, and we're also going to be talking about The Well, which is going to be this week's episode on Doctor Who on Saturday. But before we talk about Lux, guys, and The Well, and we're actually joined by Josh today, who's the special guest for today's episode. Um,
Hi
so
everybody.
hello to Josh.
Hi
Um,
everybody.
and Josh is going to be doing a little kind of duo with Lewa at the end of the episode, um, where
Indeed.
where they sing Mr. Ringadee.
Are we
Um,
going to be
Yeah,
with that? Are we going to be
yeah,
able to stay in sync with that
yeah,
though? Are we, is,
yeah. We'll have a little test and see how it goes. Well,
it's
we'll,
worth a shot.
we'll,
It's worth a
we'll
shot.
have a little go. We'll have a little go. And you might be able to find the music to maybe stay in sync. Um, but yeah, we'll come to that when we come to it. Um, but
Okay.
but yeah, before we talk about Lux, guys, I just wanted to know, because all right, actually, first of all, Josh, do you watch the episodes on like earlier in the day, or do you watch them when they're live on the telly in the evening?
I'm just recently I've been watching them earlier in the day.
Right.
And yes, while I do ultimately enjoy watching them in the evening more, I think it's been a nice way to really brighten up our Saturday mornings. Plus, then if I watch it earlier, I I can avoid being spoiled.
Yeah,
So yeah, I watch it in the mornings.
but you watch it in the mornings. And James, I know you watch it in the mornings. Do you watch it at 8 o'clock on the dot?
I do watch it in the mornings, but on this occasion, I actually overslept
Oh,
again.
you haven't slept.
I actually watched it at around about 10:30 this time. I actually put the phone on silent um, in case you messaged about it. Um, but um, but it's good with a coffee. I'm still not sure that I prefer the 8 a.m. launch over midnight launch, but it's I'm a geeky Doctor Who fan. I'm gonna watch it as soon as I can. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
know what you mean. Know what you mean. And Lower, what time did you watch it?
oh, for me, it was an 8 a.m. clock in. It was the same again. I do agree with James though. As much as I am like up early, I the Robot Revolution and Lux, I just kind of sit there and think to myself, I would have preferred watching them in the evening.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So this week was actually the first time I've ever watched Doctor Who at 8 a.m. because last week I didn't. Um,
Wow.
last week, well, for the Robot Revolution, I watched it at probably 3 o'clock. Um, I watched it at 3 o'clock,
Good
and
lad.
I woke up about 11. I had a late night. But this week, because I was going away, right, on the Saturday, I went away for Easter, so I had no choice to wake up at 8 o'clock and watch it. Um,
Yeah.
and I watched it, but I'm with you guys in the premise of I prefer the midnight showing, um, release time, because I felt with the midnight it was fun, right? Maybe not fun for staying up if you're doing something in the morning, but fun
Yeah, of
because
course.
we're all staying up and we're all getting excited for Doctor Who. But it's not the same for 8 a.m. because we don't know what time we're watching it. Like James said, he watched it at 10 something this week. Um, but it's all different, isn't it? So not everyone's going to watch it at the same time. But
Yeah,
for
it
the
is.
midnight release, I'd say majority of us probably wanted to watch it at the midnight just to get excited. So we don't matter what time we wake up in the morning, we'll still get in the no spoilers. So yeah, I think the midnight release worked a bit better, um, but I do think overall the showing of the evening was better than any early release. Like just
Hmm.
watching it in the evening and then it going on BBC iPlayer afterwards. I do think
Yeah,
that that,
I
that was the best one.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but yeah. I just want to. I touch on that every week just so it's interesting to see. But we're all in agreement that we we're not overly keen on the 8 a.m. release. But it is what it is. It is what it is.
Mm. It's just that evil cold grip that Doctor Who has over us, and it's one of those things. And it's the thing that like every
Yeah.
fan is saying at the moment. They're going like, "Ah, I hate the morning releases. I just can't like, And it's like then we all just sit there and we just go, but 6:30 in the evening, it's there. It's offered to us at the same time on the same day it's released, and we're like, we could if we were really hard about it avoid the spoilers. So we just go out and as we go out, just live life, do
Yeah.
whatever, come back, and then 6:30 is there, and then we can enjoy it in the evening, as like how
Yeah.
we're all saying.
I
But
definitely think. Sorry, Louis, you
oh
go.
no, no, no! But it's just the Doctor Whovian energy that we
It
need
is, isn't it?
it
Yeah.
there and then. It's like, oh, you brought it forward, baby. You're depending us on the evening. Oh no, no, no. We're getting it now. That's what we're like. We are all
That
like that.
that's exactly what I was
Yeah, we
about
are.
to say. Like this is the only people that are going to be watching it in the morning are the die-hard Doctor Who fans like us. The casual viewer is not going to watch it at 8 a.m.
No, they're really not, are they?
It was like when you was a little kid and like, I don't know, if someone came back to you like home and they went, look, I got you some chocolate or something, I got you a pack of sweets. And you're like, oh no. And then like, but you can't have them now. And
Yeah.
you're like, no, no, I want them now. But then you're like, oh, wait, if you have them now, you can't have them for after dinner. And then you're like, I'm gonna have it anyway. And you have it, and then you're upset after dinner. That's the same sensation that I get. I feel like Doctor Who is being my mum going, want it, you can't have it. But if you have it, you're gonna spoil it for
You
your
go in till 6 at night.
yeah.
Yeah. It is a mystery why like you'll stay up to not get spoilers, and I think that was the same way last year with the midnight release.
Yeah.
Like you watch it at night, and then you don't get the spoilers when you wake up.
Yeah, the
And
first time I watched the double bill in the evening.
watch it in the evening.
The which I thought was really fun actually, having two brand new episodes of Doctor Who in one evening on BBC One.
Mm.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's a bit unusual, isn't it, to have two
Yeah,
at the start of a series? Yeah,
yeah, but I really enjoyed it.
yeah, it's a bit different. It's a bit different. Um,
Yeah.
I I personally think though that they shouldn't have like last series. I personally think they should have done that for the finale instead of the
Oh yeah, for yeah.
yeah. I think it would have been better. Um, and
Actually thinking about it.
yeah, because I get why they've done it because they probably felt not everyone's gonna Space Baby's not gonna be everyone's cup of tea. So I'll put Devil's Cordon, and then everyone
Yeah.
majority I'll say a lot of people like that over Space Babies. But with the finale, because they did it really wrong, I felt because for the people who went in the cinema last year, they could watch the both, could they? They could watch Legend of Ruby Sunday and Empire of Death. But for on televised, they showed them not at the same time. So you had
Wait.
one last week and then the one the week of the cinema. So I felt they'd done that really
Yeah.
wrong, where it should have just been both at the same time, released on the telly as well. But yeah, I think it was all a bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So guys, what did we think of Lux?
Oh, I loved it.
We loved it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's probably one of the best ones of this era so far, purely because of how unique it was. Like having a cartoon come to life. I mean, like it's been done a lot of times over the years, obviously, but I feel like they really broke new ground for Doctor Who, and it was so like beautifully done. Like the way they animated Mr. Ring-a-Ding, it was done so beautifully. And of course, that combined with the voice work of Alan Cumming, I feel like he had that perfect balance of being like this very hoity-toity 1930s cartoon character, but then when it came down to it, he knew when to switch to um sinister and scary, like on a dime. It was brilliant.
Yeah, yeah. It was a really good episode, wasn't it? Um, what
Yeah.
about James? What did you think?
I definitely just sort of like following up from that. I definitely think that it was the probably one of the strongest episodes of the new era. If we put aside the Legends of Ruby Sunday and the Giggle, I think it's probably up there, maybe amongst the top fives in the RTD2 era. So definitely it was very I don't know how to I don't know if this is the right word for it, but kind of risky in the sense that it did break new ground for the show. We were going in a very different direction with the sort of the animation side, and having like the cartoon character, but I think the execution was brilliant. I think that they did get quite a healthy balance. They didn't make it all about the the animation and the Doctor being animated, because I think a lot of people were worried about this idea of the Doctor being animated and that it was going to be quite a large chunk of the episode, and actually it wasn't. And it actually didn't even become a real big talking point of the episode in the end. It was more of just like a little effect that happened as the plot was developing. I liked Mr. Ring-a-Ding. I do think that the idea of him being the god of light was, I don't know if this is because of social media spoiling it, but I definitely thought that that was a little bit predictable. But especially with the Harvest Bringer sign at the theater, I think that was like,
Yeah.
I saw that and it was like, okay,
I feel
this,
like everybody knew that he was going to be part of the of the pantheon.
Yeah,
yeah. But I definitely, just before I finish my piece on that, I definitely want to touch on the fact that we got the three Doctor Who fans when
Oh,
the
that was
Doctor and Belinda came out of the TV into that living room. We saw the three Doctor Who fans again,
yeah,
breaking new ground for the show. But I really loved how they kind of created the fans almost to mimic what we're like on social media. They were like
yeah,
they were like the typical Twitter Doctor Who fans, and I found that hilarious. I loved it. I was
yeah.
very I felt satisfied with that episode.
I've got to say, I loved how they handled that because that could have easily been seen as mockery, but yes, well, it is very tongue in cheek. I did also find it was quite sincere as well. Like that scene was done out of love for the fan base. That's what I enjoyed about it.
yeah, yeah. I felt it was done quite yeah, because whenever I do an episode or watch an episode, I like to see people's opinions. So I put out a thing. What's your thoughts on the episodes? And then one older fan commented, and they said, I was really offended by it,
Yeah,
by that scene in particular. And I said to them it was kind of a joke because of like maybe cosplayers or people who leak things online, and their response to me was um, that that's my opinion, but on their premise of it is that I don't do cosplay or anything. I'm just an older fan. I've been I've been following Doctor Who for a long time, and I find that kind of offensive to me. So, which I do understand their point to that actually, because it can come across offensive to them. And personally, my opinion on it, I did enjoy the scene, I really did, but I did feel that the scene went on a bit too long. Um, it kind of did take a little bit away from the episode. We was there for a while talking to them, but I do understand if people do get offended by it.
I found the episode itself to be definitive for Doctor Who.
Mm.
It was one of those, you know, like I've seen people talk about the intros and they've said how it definitely felt Doctor Who, the intro alone. That was, you know,
Yeah.
that was perfect. It had that energy, that nostalgia, that suspense, and just that quirkiness, like, and that immersiveness as well, to tell you that this episode is going to be very immersiveness. Even like when Alan Cumming was like going like the "Don't make me laugh," yes, you. Like he was doing all of that, and
Oh,
like you
that
know,
whole
we
thing,
knew
right.
what was going to come. We knew that it was going to be a very immersive piece. Um, and everything that happened in the episode, I adored. For starters, I gave the episode a rating of 10 out of 10, and
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
The only downside that I will say is the immersive breaking out the TV scene with the fans. Now, I love the scene with the fans. I love it. And I love it, and I love it, and I love it. My only issue is that they chose the type too easily. And it's almost as if you could now, if we were all four writers in the room, right? Because in my mind, I saw it and I just went, they had such a wasted opportunity there. They had such a wasted opportunity. They didn't need, because I think, what was her name? The girl, the ginger girl. She did all of the talking.
yeah, yeah,
It was Lizzie, wasn't it?
Lizzie, thank you. Keep Lizzie. Get rid of the other two. I'm sorry, we didn't need them because they didn't bring anything to the play. To actually add something to the story and make it so worth it that you could pull in the older fans, the new gen fans, and also the new gen fans. Do you know how they would have easily won the hearts and minds of every age gap over?
yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
think of
I
that to
get
begin with, but
They
that would
needed.
have been lovely. That would have been
Oh, no,
really
no, no, I'm
nice.
not done. I'm not done. No, no, no. I'm not saying just by getting rid of the other two. That's
Yeah.
just rude. That's just rude. I'm not saying that. That would just be a waste of casting. No, they're actors still. They're good actors. They were good. But to actually fall, because I was sitting there, I was going, right, I'm not connecting. I don't sit there and buy the unit Forbidden Planet merch. I know that there are a lot of fans that do, and they got that bang on the money there because that was perfect. All they needed was Lizzie sat there, a younger sibling, a child, and a parent.
Oh.
All they needed was that for the parent to be the elderly person that went, "Oh my God, I have watched you ever since you were like long and brown and curly hair with that terrible scarf, and I have loved you ever since then." And he could be like, "Oh my God, how many have you watched? Like you had such opportunity with that whole
Yeah.
idea." And the new child could sit there and go like, "Blink was my favorite. Blink was my favorite," and he'll be like, "Not even the one with the goblins?" And then the kid could be like, "No, Blink." And then, do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because they're trying to say, and this is how a lot of people have taken it, that Doctor Who fans are only overgrown adults.
Mm, yeah.
I know it's a funny joke, and I know that sometimes we can be annoying, but you forget the true demographic of the show and the
Mm.
true
Yeah.
avatar of the children and the elderly for the show. They are such lovers of the show. If you talk to any OAP and you go, "Have you ever watched Doctor Who?" There would definitely be at least a solace of love for them for it.
That's
And
right.
any child, if you sit them down in front of Doctor Who, they are going to be terrified.
Yeah.
And it
But
worked.
Yeah.
I think that would work perfectly, what you just said, because it would. Yeah, I could just imagine it now.
I'm
That would
sorry,
be.
but that girl sat down just going, "Oh, it's a bit obvious, isn't it?" I was kind of just like, "You are really just like." If it was the kid there, like if it was a kid, like they could really like obviously because they know that they try and reflect on the real world at points, and that would have been a perfect stopgap just to get it. Because if they wanted to go,
Yep.
kids are always on their phones nowadays or something like that. The kid could have been there, just sat there, just going hashtag RIP Doctor Who, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of the girl just being sat there, just going hashtag RIP Doctor Who. I was like, this is just wasted words. I was like,
Yeah.
the Doctor Who is about words of wisdom and words of power, and to hear it from a little kid, the Doctor's heart would have break. And if the Doctor heard that and Cutie, like Shooty actually started crying there, I would have been like, that is a perfectly acceptable moment for the Doctor to cry, is when a child says that it doesn't watch Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would have literally, I don't know why they didn't think of that.
yeah. Uh, Another thing about that moment, for me, is when the doctor's asking them of what your favorite episode is, and they all say Blink, right?
Yeah.
But they all say Blink, and personally, right, they're all different. They all have their minds, and you would think that all of them favorite episode isn't Blink, because if I ask all of you,
Yeah, that's the thing.
if I ask you right now, I swear we're all not going to say Blink, right?
No
We're
one
going to
would
say
say that.
we're all
Oh
not
well.
going to say the same thing. So then them all saying Blink is kind of saying why? Why Blink? Why not another episode that we all like?
Dude,
I
you're
mean, I
so
get
right.
why they did that. I get why they did that because, like, a lot of fans, like, yes, it's not necessarily Blink, but every fan has been united at least in some way to a certain episode. So, like, I get where he's going with that, but yeah, like as you say, Mason, we wouldn't all just go like Blink
No.
No, but that's
because it
fine
might
though.
not be our favorite.
That's bang on the dot though, because we wouldn't all say blink. We wouldn't.
No.
And
No,
but that just that does that also that also does just kind of sit there and think that they really didn't give it that much thought because like they once again it feels like they just gave us the most surface layer Doctor Who fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there was I mean like actually now that I'm actually analyzing this a tiny bit the actual kind of what was it? The merch that they was wearing was a bit
Yeah.
too like I've seen all of that lineage in Forbidden Planet recently.
Yeah. And
Just
and and speaking about that, right? The lady that who said who's wearing the Beat t-shirt, you would think that she or they would say, "Oh, Stubbies, 100%," because I'm wearing the Beat t-shirt.
in it,
That's
in
true.
it. Just
Yeah.
like to have a little bit of ratio, a little bit of something. Because no, you want Mason, you're bang on the money there, mate. No Doctor Who fan would ever say Blink. Like, yeah, you do get some diehard fans who are always like, I love Blink, it's one of my favorites. I mean, we all love Blink. But you're watching a show about a man traveling, or if you want to look
Doctor's
at
hardly in it. He's in it
yeah,
a little bit, but
yeah.
it's
I
not.
Yeah.
know that's the irony of it. He's not even in
Like
that episode
if
a
your
lot.
favorite Weeping Angel episode, I mean, like in our minds, I think my favorite Weeping Angel episode is, you know, kind of a
The Matt Smith ones are mine, actually.
yeah,
I do like the Matt Smith.
yeah. Now that I think about it, it is the Forest of the Dead, and it's no, not the Forest of the Dead. What is it?
Time of Angels.
Time of Angels and uh, uh something
And
stone.
Forest of the
Legends.
Angels? Is it? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
No,
It was the
Stone.
Time of Angels, yeah, and Flesh and Stone.
Yeah, that's right. That's
That's
right.
it.
Yeah,
But
those two.
I do understand why they went with this in the other sense, what Josh was saying, because that what I think they're trying to do is they're asking an episode and trying to mimic the Doctor because they're picking an episode he's already in, and because they say R.I.P. Doctor Who, they're trying to come across an episode that isn't got the Doctor in, and that's why I think they say it. I don't think they say it because it is their favourite one. I think they just say it because he's not in it.
I don't know. I don't know.
But I don't know.
I just kind of think the scene would have been a bit more effective if they went for choosing the fan, like the Whovians, like the biggest nerds of it at the moment.
Heaven
I
I
sent.
think, you
mean,
know what? I think they really could have united the Whoniverse there by
Mm.
actually inviting three of the biggest Doctor Who fans on
mm,
set. Because let's
That
face
would
it, like they were
that would
designed
have been
to
brilliant.
be, they were designed to play, and it's not that much of a difficult scene to do. You could, if you had a few Whovians, like if they went, let's who's big at the moment, like Ellie Littlechild from Who Culture, like Confused Adipo, like the guys who have really like hit through, and Crystal D, like those
yeah,
who really hit the balustrades of Doctor Who at the moment. It would have been good if they got them all in and just went like, look, we can, we'll give you a few workshops. You don't have to, but it would be good if you represented the Whovian fan base at this moment, because not
yeah.
only that, it also says thank you to the fan base in a way that they've never said thank you before.
Hmm.
Yep.
And I've always heard the aches and pains of a lot of Whovians when they say that they feel like they give and they give and they give to the show so much, but they don't get any kind of identity back. Like there are some times when you see people pouring their hearts out for the show, and someone else, just gets it straight there and then for them. And you see, like Mason, with all of your passion and everything that you pour onto your Instagram, and Josh, and the same as you, Jay, like, everything that you guys do, you are tagging Doctor Who constantly. You are berating them in the way how they say that we are annoying, and we are annoying, and that's the truth of it. So if we are that annoying and we've rubbed off on you that much, then surely you should be listening to us now at this point
Yeah.
and knowing who we are.
Yeah.
Because I can respectfully say, yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, the big fandoms the big Whovians at the moment have really been around for quite a while now. I mean, like if you ever ask someone, big Doctor Who fans, people go, "Oh, Tharies, oh, all of these lot." You say all them lot, and they do get the recognition as well. But there are some that really don't. You guys, and the Doctor Humor page, and all of them chaps, all of them. You guys are giving it all and all and all, and it's and it was nice because even then still what we got in the scene was true. It was still true, and that's something we cannot negate, because I still got, when I saw it, when they crawled out the TV, I was still content. I was still super duper content. I was like, they've got it. I was like, they've got it, because there are some fans who are surface level fans still, and like it would, like, no matter what. No, and I mean that in a way where they can be the most complex fans of all. Like you can ask them, you know, what's your favorite classic episode? But yet they still go to Forbidden Planet and they buy the merch and they do it like that. So for all we know, Lizzie could know every compendium of Patrick Troughton's hidden episodes. We don't know. But I just felt it would have been nice if we just got that harmony to make it that extra step of a linkage, because it was meant to be immersive. When they were crawling out that TV, right? Because the thing is, I studied immersive theatre and media studies for a long time, and how to connect to an audience in a way like never before. And when I was watching it and I heard them saying, scrolling won't break us through. If we need to go, then we need to go out. I was sitting there thinking to myself, I was like, right, how the hell are they gonna do this? I was like, I had chills when they was walking towards the screen. I don't know if anyone else did here. Did
Mm.
you all
Yeah, I
have
was like,
chills?
wait, are they? Are
I
they?
certainly didn't expect it.
I was like, what is gonna happen? I was like, are they gonna break out into the BBC editor's room or something? I was like, this.
I felt like that they were gonna break out of my TV.
Yeah. I was like, how are they? I was
It
like,
it
that's
felt
what
like
made it 10 out of 10.
it felt like what they did on the 50th before the 50th actually started. You know, when Matt
Yes.
Smith and they were going all 3D. That's what it felt like to me.
I remember that.
That's what it
I
felt
know.
like to me.
And then David pops out and he goes, sorry,
Yeah.
don't mind me.
Take it over for a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
And then you get Strax. Didn't Strax also do an introductory
yeah, he
video
done one as
as well?
Yeah,
well.
he did about the
Greetings,
rules of etiquette.
humans.
Yeah.
With your human popcorn.
But I knew that was going to happen in the
Cinema
episode.
etiquette.
I knew it was going to happen. I saw a leak online, so so I knew. I knew.
I love that
But,
line.
yeah.
All in all, though, sorry. I will just leave on that note. All in all, I found it was still a masterpiece. And what I was complaining about still was the most luxury, frivolous of a criticism that I could ever think of. You know, how
Yeah.
on earth would they be able to replicate and make it specific enough, like to invite them, YouTubers? It will be a lot of effort and a lot of hard work to arrange, but they still got the energy of the Whovians correct, and they got that on the money. The actors did a wonderful job. Um, I just felt like in what I envisaged would have been, I could see, like, if it was a child in the OAP and like that family scenario, I could see that kind of being like if it was the same episode, but Matt Smith if it was Stephen Moffat's run, what I mean. So I feel like if it was Russell T Davies, we would have it the way that we had it. But if it was a Moffat incarnation of the same episode, we would have had it a bit more poetic, like with the child. And, I think he would have imbued it in a generational stopgap instead of just three random actors, I think.
Yeah, you could actually have it. I don't know if this would work, but you could have a like because some people that have acted on Doctor Who in the past, like as actual characters, are fans themselves. So you could have had David Tennant playing David Tennant, not the
Well, that
Doctor.
would have been
You
genius.
could
That
have
would have
had
Oh
been
Peter
my God,
Capaldi.
imagine that.
You could have Peter Capaldi playing Peter Capaldi, not the Doctor. Matt Smith playing Matt Smith,
Oh,
Never have thought
not
of
the
that.
Doctor. So you could have had that. They're fans. They like the show. They grew up watching the show. So you could have had that instead of getting three random actors.
Oh, do you know what? Actually, no, I want to evolve on that thought. What if they crawled out of the TV and all that they had in front of them, Russell T Davies, Stephen Moffat, and Chris Chibnall,
Brilliant. I
all
love
just sat
that.
in front of there, and like he goes, "Wait, who are you?" And like they go, "Your biggest fans." Like exactly the same.
we are writers.
I love
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
That would have been brilliant.
We created you.
Yeah. And then he looks at Chibnall, and then he just goes, No, Chibnall, no."
Yeah,
Only just in the Jackie perspective. I'm only doing it in the Jackie part.
Yeah.
But no, we all love we still love Chibnall.
There is
Yeah.
something that popped into my head not long before coming on tonight, and it's something that we'll probably talk about a bit more because we still haven't even talked about Mrs. Flood yet. But those three Doctor Who fans who thought that we thought we were never going to see them again reappeared at the end of the episode.
Mm.
Do you think
Yeah.
we've not seen the last of them? Because I feel like they are going to be coming back.
Yeah. I mean, like, the thing is, a lot of people are really upset about the whole meta scene as well, which is one thing that I was a little bit surprised about when they were like, no, I don't like the concept that, you know, Doctor Who is a TV show in the world of Doctor Who. And it's like, well, no, hang on. That's not exactly what they're saying. That's not 100% what they're saying. No. This is just how Doctor Who perceives interdimensional cable, like Rick and Morty. That's how I'm now perceiving it as a coping mechanism to after everything, because obviously if we're now diving into something known as the reality war, then we have to be open and comparable that there are different realities all combined and squashed on one another. So
Yeah.
if another reality was to observe another reality without knowing it, then that would make perfect sense and poetic enough for us to still go, Doctor Who is real enough without it not being real enough.
The
Because how we watch
Yeah.
it could be another reality.
the reason why this worked in this specific episode, if it was like the Devil's Cord, this wouldn't work at all. But because the reason it worked in Lux is because of the premise of the episode. You have Mr. Ring-a-Ding, who is a cartoon. They gets transported into a film, and then they're not like it's good what they're saying. Like the people they're saying they're not real because the Doctor probably doesn't think they're real because he's in a film, right? He's in their film, which makes
Yeah, it's
the
part of
that
the trap.
yeah, it's part of it. It's part of Lux's trap. So really, we know the Doctor's in a TV show because we watch it, right?
Hmm.
But they don't know that, and then at the end, they're alive at the end. So it works in this episode, but any other episode of Doctor Who, it would not work. It works because of the story, um,
Hmm.
and you could see them back. I personally don't.
I would love it. Sorry, Mason. I would love it if they came back at the end of Reality War and said like, well, and said like, well, that was a bit anticlimactic, wasn't it?
That'd be funny.
Or potentially they could be the safe haven. You never know. If say for instance all reality collapses, then maybe like this is say like the lifeboat. You know how Legend of Ruby Sunday they had no the Empire of Death they had the memory TARDIS as the kind
Mm.
of
Oh,
what if all
Yeah, okay.
reality dies and like they have to just go back to the fans? Like they're just sitting there like going,
Yeah.
we really don't know what to do now. Like
And
um,
I reckon, could you imagine that at some point in that episode in the reality war, they go back there and then it will cut to a scene where you've got the Doctor, Belinda, and those three fans. They're going to be like, on today's podcast, we're going to be talking about the reality war episode.
oh, that would be cool. That would actually
and
be
here
quite
we have a
fun.
special guest, the Doctor, and Belinda Chandra.
You know what? That would actually be quite cool, actually, if they did. So obviously we know that Wish is it Wish World is the
Yeah,
precursor to the reality world, to the
yeah.
reality.
Yes, that's right.
So
Yep.
if obviously in between, because it's going to be a weekly gap, so obviously if it ends off that they're stuck in that kind of safe haven, and over the week, obviously, we have to wait until the next episode. So what if like over like say BBC Radio and like other TV shows, like they get fluctuations and it's them sat there kind of talking exactly the way that you're going.
Yeah.
Like, and on
Yeah.
tonight's program, we are welcomed by the Doctor. He's in a bit of trouble at the moment. How's he going to get himself out of this one? Doctor, welcome to the show. How are you feeling? And he's like, I am doing pretty well. Let the people
Um,
know that. Like,
I so all of reality is falling apart, and so that's pretty awful.
yeah, a bit of a
Yeah.
bummer, I have to
Yeah.
admit.
So I do have a bit of a prediction for the finale and the Interstellar Song Contest in particular.
Yes.
Um, because the whole premise of the episode springs a Seventh Doctor story to me, from the greatest show in the galaxy. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, so I do believe the gods around the rock will be the main premise of that episode. Um,
Oh.
I do feel that they will be, and it would make sense because say every time an actor goes onto the stage, um, they will die if it's not good enough for the three
And that
gods.
would make sense as well for that establishing shot in the trailer. Sorry, I'm literally just moving some stuff. Um, in the trailer when we see that shot of like the Doctor and all those bodies falling out of like the casket or like the stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, that could be the gods of Ragnarok going, "This fool is terrible. Send him into the vacuum," or
I
something.
saw a theory, and again, this is probably going to sound completely bonkers, and it's not my theory. It's one that I watched on YouTube a couple of days ago. I can't remember for the life of me who it was who theorized this. And there was a reason why I asked, why do you think that those three fans could come back into it? What if the gods of Ragnarok and those three fans are
The sec-
connected?
Oh, that's quite a clever thought, actually. That could be something.
they could. Do you remember a long time ago when there's some guy from I forgot his name. He was in the House of the Dragon, and they announced him with ginger hair, and he's got horns on his head. They made a post about it saying he was going to be in Doctor Who in this series. I forgot what his name was, but he had horns on his head.
Well, the
Um,
Damon.
yeah, I think that's his name. Yeah, yeah. So he's got horns on his ears or head. I
But with the
think,
big red eyes.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the Damon. Or the
yeah,
Demon.
yeah. So I think he's going to be the main premise of the episode. But yeah, I think it would lead nicely into Wish World. It's good. I think it's going to be a bit like Utopia in a sense. Towards the end, where it just fits nicely. I'm unsure we'll get a reveal of Miss Flood then. Uh,
I,
we-
I, I
um,
think she's the trickster. I'm still putting my money on it.
but you think she's the trickster?
I don't. Just the ending of the ending of Lux when she goes trick of the light. I know that obviously she's trying to say it's Pepper's ghost. Like I've worked very closely with that field of performance, Pepper's ghost, and that's exactly it was invented by the Weird Sisters, and it was how that you would project a go. No, it wasn't Weird Sisters. It was how you project obviously things on stage to look like they are and how they would disappear, and that's when they go trick of the light, innit? Um, and obviously it was meant to be a little pun on Lux as well. But
Yeah.
I just found that the use, like we have heard the word trick too many times now, and it is getting obvious that it is the trickster contains multitudes, and I'm starting to think that each member of this pantheon are starting to become the multitudes which exist inside the trickster. I think that all of
Yeah.
these somewhat make the trickster now, or something.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
with an Nancy or the spider coming into one of these episodes as well,
Yeah.
it would make sense for the trickster. Um, I'm, he's, I would love the trickster back, but
Because
um,
Anansi's meant to be a kind of god of tricks, isn't he?
Mm.
yeah.
Or stories. I don't know. It's
I don't
either
know.
or.
Is this a Nancy theory actually? Because I remember doing all of my videos on a Nancy. Has this
I know
all
you mentioned it.
from myself? I'm not actually. I'm not. I'm really worried
I,
now. This whole.
I don't think we'll know till next week, so we'll keep our thoughts to that one for next time because we don't know. Well, it'd be nice to see in the
Well, no,
title.
because we haven't actually had confirmation that this thing's
No,
called Nancy.
we haven't.
No,
Um, I
well, we
just
haven't.
do like my old. There was a TikTok theory that I did months back about like I went on Google and I was finding like all the research into Nancy. And now it's really kicking into things now. People are really calling it a Nancy. This is quite like
Yeah,
I
but
don't know.
yeah, it's going to be interesting that one. Um, but yeah, but yeah, so when, you know, do you know? Do you remember the trailer and you saw this like dinosaur bone thing?
Yeah.
I
Mm.
think what they're going to be called are the bone beasts.
Oh.
Um, I
Oh,
read
yeah.
the bone beasts, and what I believe there to be is not the main premise of the episode. I think there's some sort of guards or some sort of leaderships to the whoever the main villain's going to be.
Wait,
Um,
for Wishworld and the Reality Warrior.
yeah, for
Yeah.
Wishworld and Reality War. So whoever it is, if it's Omega, if it's the Trickster, it could even be both. I imagine that Omega and the Trickster. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I do have a question for you all for Lux, actually. So Harbinger, it said on outside, as we all predicted before the episode began. So
Yeah.
what I'm interested in, because each pantheon of gods has a Harbinger for them, don't they?
Hmm.
So I presume Harriet was Sutek's Harbinger. Um,
Harbinger, yeah.
yeah, so right. I don't know if the toy maker had one, but for this one, right? Did Lux have a harbinger
Yeah.
at all?
Mm.
Because
Thing is,
yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, he did. It was the
the
sign.
thing is, yeah, the thing is, I thought that Lux, I thought that his harbinger was Reginald
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
Bye, because like he was feeding him moonlight, or just like overall by playing all those old films and the Mr. Ring-a-Ding shorts. So I thought it was him. Uh,
It's very different from the other ones, isn't it? Because we had
Yeah.
at the like on display at the theatre we had the Harvest Bringer,
Mm.
which presumably is the name of a show. And then obviously we had was it Mr. Pie? Obviously, who was then doing the film
yeah.
work and stuff like that. So it's not really clear who the Harbinger is.
He wasn't forced, was he? Like Mr.
No.
Pie had his own
No,
mind.
I've seen it as like so. I mean, we don't. This is the thing, but we've only ever seen harbingers in a human form, and this is the first time that we've had it in an environmental factor. And I think we've all got it kind of sewn into our brains that harbingers have to be a being instead. Harbinger, I think. Now I've got like some. I've been thinking about this recently, and I was thinking. So I don't think the gods place the harbingers there. They don't. It looks like they do. It looks like they do because obviously the kid was then, planted and he looked evil with Maestro.
mm,
And it looked like it was a trap. But the thing is, I don't think that is the case now because obviously when we had Harry Arbinger, she was like, "I was born for this," and it sounded like obviously, but you were born for this because you was placed here because that's exactly what you're meant to do. But then we
mm.
had the Harvest Bringer, the Rock Hudson film, and then I was like, "Well, hang on, a god couldn't fake a movie and then put that there and it wouldn't make sense. So it would only have to be on the basis of it being a coincidence."
Hmm.
Now hold fire. Because if Harry
Yeah.
was a person who, so if it has to be the person or the place or the environment has to align itself based on a temporal coincidence, then what does this all go back to? The goblins. Because what does the goblin
Hmm.
king feast on?
Coincidence.
Yeah.
Coincidence. Right, okay, so that's
And it
making
was implied in the novel and in an early version of the script that they were part of the Toymakers Legions.
there you go. Yeah, exactly.
And what do Maestro and Lux both have in common?
They think, kind of.
They both do the
Oh yeah, the giggle.
giggle. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think that is a god thing now, isn't it? Where they all just do
So
it.
I think maybe Lux could be part of the Toymakers Legions as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because all of the gods have like their own kind of sub factor of leadership, don't they? Like because with the trickster, you've got his brigade with Sutek. I guess that could be his angels of death. And with Lux, with well with the toy maker, it could be Lux, Maestro, and the goblins.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, because obviously the Tricksters Brigade is a. I have made a comment saying that I'm starting to think that the Pantheon are all members that reside inside the Trickster. When you look at the separate, because there are two separate Pantheons. So where you've got the Tricksters Pantheon Brigade, or the Pantheon of Discord, you've got a whole regiment of chaotic beings like the Time Beetle, potentially Anansi the Spider, and then you've got the Mind Snake from Torchwood. So you've got that pantheon there, and then you've now got the pantheons of chaos.
and the Trickster and his brigade also reside within that pantheon there. And inside it, so the way that I've always seen it now is obviously we know who is at the very tippy top of the pantheon at the current moment, and that's meant to be Sutek because he is the father and the mother and the other of all. So he's always at the top. He's the biggest and the best of all of them. Underneath, you've got the toy maker with his two children, Maestro, and I want to start. I'm only assuming it is, but I do feel based on Lux, the fact that Lux and Maestro share a lot of qualities and goals, I would feel that they are children progeny, and we know that the Maestro is a progeny of the toy maker. So I feel like Lux might be a progeny of the toy maker as well. And it just is one of those things that we're starting to see things. And I feel like the goblins, because he says that they're not, because they ride the waves of time. So they're kind of like, I feel like they're the kind of the outer ring of the family. Do you know what I mean? I feel like they're kind of like, how should we say, like if you were looking at it like a kind of atom basis, the outer shell is the goblins, and then it works its way in. And now I'm saying it all the way into the way at the beginning, but now if I do it in a nucleic format, because technically Lux should be at the very heart because he is the dazzling gleam at the heart of the pantheon. It's annoying, but yeah, I do feel like but I just feel like Lux was definitely a pantheon member. It has to be because now that they all have the signet of the arpeggio, they've all got the signet of the arpeggio, and I will back Mason on this one. Sutek does it as well. We've had this conversation.
Yeah, yes.
Because
Sutek does it.
I mean, it does
very carefully when he does
after he is summoned.
Yeah. I am Sutek, the god of death. Like, so when it still does it in an arpeggio. Like, it still does it. If you do it yourself and you listen, if you do your best Sutek impression, because his vocal range is so many octaves lower compared to the musical pantheon members, he's not going to just he's not going to do that, is he? And then he's going to break out into la 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 la.
Yeah, he does it at deeper tone.
The god of death.
Yeah, he didn't do it for long, but he did it in a way that signified his presence.
At most, it was just a light chuckle.
I feel like they should have just called it the pantheon of the giggle at this point, not the gods of chaos, the gods of the giggle. That would have been it. And I did, you know what? A nice little subthread that I really appreciated about this actually was how it just backed up that giggle factor as well, because we spoke about this the week before Lux came out, and we were saying that it's very close to the time period of when Stooky Bill was implemented for TV, and because obviously it was very and now even the BBC have released a compilation of just Lux coming out and him going, don't make me laugh because it sounds like this. Like he does that, and then it goes all the way back to Stooky Bill. Like they cut immediately to Stooky Bill doing it, and I was like, right, okay, because I just like that because then we're watching it on the screen in a projector in a cinema a couple of years after TV was built. So it's just that nice little Stooky Bill giggle reference there. I like that.
Yeah.
Added to the of it all.
Yeah, it signifies that Lux is a pantheon member, as he talked about the tournament. He talked about all the past members, but before, and I do think we'll get a few more, potentially.
We do have some more.
Yeah,
I've still got my guess who is at the bottom of the well. I'm still putting my money. It could be the Midnight Monster. I don't think it is.
Yeah, we'll come to that after we spoke about Lux. I am really interested to what you got to say because the well looked very good. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, I do think we are not just going to see one more member. We're going to see at least two or three more members of the Pantheon,
Big
including
time.
I feel like including the top person, because it would make sense with the 2 year deal or 2 season deal not to finish this story off in this series. Um, but um, but yeah, it's interesting. Like James touched on earlier, what Miss Flood said right at the end, and not the trigger to the light. It's what's the other thing she said. Show ends May 24th. And we know Belinda can't get back on that day. So, what are our thoughts on that? And you, why do we think Miss Flood said show ends May 24th?
Um, I'm not 100% sure yet, but I am sort of starting to put together a theory as to what happens in the end. Um, I can't help but think that this whole reality war, Doctor Who being in a show and stuff like that, which is a theory that's been talked about a lot, I think that has some substance to it. I think that, especially with seeing those three fans still being alive and stuff like that, I just can't help but think that we are
Yeah.
going to get an element of that. But I almost feel like that this whole thing of the Doctor being in a show could be like a distraction. I think it
Hmm.
I think whichever god or entity has done this has put this together, possibly as an accomplice to whoever the big bad is, whilst the big
Hmm.
bad then does a madness and destroys the earth or whatever like or the reality in the real world, that kind of stuff. I think that could be where this is heading.
You think it's a whole big distraction?
I think it could be part of a big distraction, and I think Mrs. Flood is like the accomplice who is sort of creating that.
Oh.
So are we all? So do we all think Miss Flood is the villain then? So we think she's the villain and she's not a goodie.
I think she's
Well,
the villain, but not the main.
certainly. Well, she's certainly part of something bigger. That's for sure.
Yeah. Um, I feel well, because it online, right? See the leaks.
Yeah.
But so many people are on the assumption that the Doctor, like you say, is in a TV show, and which would like I see all the people who say like confused adipose fairies. It's funny what people say. So people are like, and they think that it would be the best market employ or best of any show
Yeah.
if they if Russell T Davies put this massive thing on, say it cancels Doctor Who, say it's cancelled, say the show ends, and then they make that the whole premise, the whole storyline for the season. That's why season 3 hasn't been renewed, because that's the whole premise of the
Mm.
series. And Mrs. Flood's character, whoever she may be, is the one trying to cancel Doctor Who in the plot, and the Doctor has to save Doctor Who in the actual show and in real life. Well, implied in real life as well. And then when we get to the reality war, that's why it's called the reality war. In one reality, Doctor Who's cancelled. In one reality, Doctor Who's saved. So that's
That's
that
interesting.
is a funny way to take it because this could go so many
Yeah.
different ways. And if that did happen, right, I would love it in a sense if that was what they're going for because it's different. It's never been. They could do that in any show, right? They could do that in Star Wars. They could do it in Marvel. It would be so clever to do, but at the same time, it would be so annoying because as Doctor Who fans, you want a bit of reassurance that another series is going to be commissioned and not until the current one ends. Um, so yeah, that is a different way to take things, especially what Miss Flood said right at the end there, which it could be a diversion, and it probably is. But yeah, I think that is an interesting way to take it.
Hmm. Yeah.
do find Mrs. Flood is yeah, James is right on. I think she is. Well, I think she's serving a purpose. I think
Yeah,
she is, and I think what she is doing. I think she's doing exactly what she is on the lid, like on the label. What's her name? Mrs.
Blood.
Flood. And I think if she's making sure, I think she's the reason why the TARDIS can't get back.
yeah,
I think she is flooding the TARDIS out of 2025. I think that's what she's doing. She's flooding the TARDIS out. Whenever it tries to get back, she floods it out again with fact
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Is it?
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
she is a flood of fantasy. So what she can do is make sure and cook planet Earth for whoever is really coming or whatever she's really got planned. So, for instance, she had Ruby and they got sent off, and everywhere that they've gone now, they've encountered a fantasy instead of an alien sci-fi monster. And it
Yeah.
does relate back to the salt thing. It always will go back to the salt thing as well, because he's also, when I was thinking about the goblin in the song that Christina sings, Christina Rotondo, she also they say there's a reference of salt in the song as well. Um, so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like she is flooding the universe with fantasy so much that it cannot, whatever is homing in around May 2025 is the fantasy epicenter, the reality war. That is when it takes place.
Hmm.
Mm.
Um,
yeah.
and I just, I'm very interested to know what's going on, because I do sit there and think, yeah, she could be the trickster. Yeah, she could be the Rani, but I do just think she is like, I think she has to be some kind of not harbinger. Don't think she's a harbinger. I think she's some kind of consort to a god or something where
Yeah.
she serves a more purpose before the bigger sinister purpose.
That's what I'm getting from this. I don't think I've now kind of settled on the fact that it's not a classic villain. It's not the Rani. It's not the
Mm.
trickster. I'm now in very much. I firmly believe she's not the big bad, but like I said, how I said earlier, I think she's like an accomplice. I think she is
Mm.
working for a bigger villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
And
fine.
Mm.
also, I just want to add, like, I do think we are going to see Lux again.
Do you think?
And I think
Yeah.
Lux,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah, because the Doctor didn't defeat Lux truly. Like,
It's
and this
invisible
is the
now.
thing, yeah. Every other god has been packed up and sent back to wherever they came. Lux, he
Mm.
went, no, give Lux what he wants. He knew that it was going to dilute him down enough so he wouldn't, but it's the one god that the Doctor's gone, he's actually no harm. He
Yeah.
can't do any harm. This is not a problem. And I feel like there's going to be like a massive problem some point in the reality war, so much so that when everything is so dark, a little bit of light will be shone, and that will help the Doctor. And I think that will be Lux, just helping. I think
I
Lux
like
is the
that.
one good Pantheon member.
Wow. Okay. I like that theory.
Ooh, I like that
Because
idea.
if you listen to how beautiful he sounds at the end of that
Oh
episode,
yeah, I
despite
love it.
how crazy and when he's like,
I am everything.
like, yeah, it sounds like he actually is seeing the beauty because he has seen the true light of the universe, how wonderful it all is, how
Yeah.
Yeah.
everything is. And I feel like he's going to really change his mind on what the Chaos Gods are doing. Um, and I think that
I'm
will
going to
help
say.
the Doctor.
It was beautiful, the ending, and
It
I
was.
loved it.
It was.
It was the best start to an episode and the best ending, I felt.
Mm.
Yeah. But I felt my only criticism, other than the thing we've mentioned about Lux, is not Lux himself, the episode. Um, is that I feel once I feel the in that episode I felt, well, it's not a criticism, but it is kind of. So I feel Lux was defeated the best way out of any of the gods, um,
Oh
inc-
yeah.
including the Toymaker, of course.
Oh
So
yeah.
all of them, all of them. And I felt I still do. I still feel it was easy defeat for Lux, but I do feel it was the best way to defeat him because
Yeah,
you
it
was
was.
in the film, so it was best. Like game of catch, it feels so easy, right?
I mean that on that slight contradiction there, it is that it's the way the Doctor works that always beats the enemy at the end of the day. Because with the Toy Maker, the Doctor's key moral winning the game will always be give them their own medicine, give them their own medicine.
Yeah,
Give them
yeah,
take their energy and fire it back at them. That is how the Doctor wins. So with the Toy Maker, he went, let's play a game. With Maestro, give us a song. With the God of Death, he brought him to death. And with the God of Light, let there be light. And that
yeah,
Yeah,
it is just going to be. So, whatever the big baddie is, the God of fantasy, the God of story, he is just going to sit there at the end of it and go, let me tell you a story. And that will be how it works. It will be
yeah,
It'll be like
yeah,
there will be no universe left. Nothing. The gods of chaos have come back together and they have caused everything that they said they would. The silence of the spheres, an empire of death. It will end like that. Everything will end how the gods have fed themselves. And when there's one thing left, is a story to tell, and that will be the
yeah,
Doctor.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. It was definitely the best way. Out of any of the gods, I know they've all been kind of similar, how they are defeated, and some of them not by the work of the Doctor actually, like in Devil's Cord, the Doctor didn't do anything really, did he? But I do feel it's
He kind of cocked together the combination of notes. He
yeah,
couldn't find the right note.
yeah,
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 That
yeah,
was in humanity, that one. But he still knew the mechanism of how to beat Maestro still. He still
yeah.
knew.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think my only it's been for a lot of the era actually. I did feel like an extra few minutes on Lux would have been good because it felt kind of rushed at the end.
mm,
When the Doctor left, and especially when Miss Flood said her last word, because the credits rolled as soon as she was speaking. So I feel like an extra few minutes in the TARDIS while it's going would have been really good. So I did feel, and for a lot of the era, especially, um, could have done with a few extra minutes.
It's
Um,
a common theme in
yeah,
the RTD2 era, and I don't think it's going to change anytime
no,
soon.
no, it won't because these were filmed back to back, and you can't take feedback, can you? So yeah, unfortunately, it's gonna happen. And the finale will
mm,
probably be about 55 minutes each. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but I did feel last episode, Robot Revolution ending was better than Lux's because it felt smoother. I felt that was a much smoother ending than this one. Even though we loved Lux's in the air, but
yeah,
I'm talking about the very last second.
Yeah, just on the ground and
Yeah,
and yeah.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
um, but before we go on to the well, did anyone see? We didn't see what's his name? Mr. Pie again. Did we? I think he just died. Well,
Yeah.
we presume. So yeah, he sacrificed
yeah,
himself.
He went across the road.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just that really. Not many things in this episode, but to say bad about, which is really good, and it's really good to hear.
It was
But
short and punchy, quite like Mr. Ringerding himself.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. But
I think that was quite poetic, and I think that
yeah,
yeah. But the thing is, as short as it was, it did something that Doctor Who
yeah,
had in itself in quite a while. Like it was the most like it was so smooth and like honey. It definitely that episode. You could see Christopher Eccleston doing that episode.
yeah,
mm,
You
Yes.
could see Eccleston doing that episode easily.
yeah,
And I mean, obviously, without all of the segregation laws and all that lot coming into play, I mean, but that was very nice of, and because the thing was, I was starting to sit there and thinking to myself, it would be nice to see Russell T write a bit more on how the Doctor could encounter, the discrimination throughout time.
yeah,
Always
yeah,
wanted to see that be like, because we saw Jodie got a bit of it. Jodie got a bit. More of the Sontarans and stuff like that, and like the
mm,
Witchfinders. She always got a bit of sandpaper to her skin. And
Yeah.
I think Shooty, like he's handled like when they was in Miami, he like everything like with the woman in the diner, and like you can see that even in him, he's still the doctor is the god of empathy, if anything. Like let's face it, the god is like
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
empathizing person on the planet. And to sit there and walk into a room knowing that there are rules over skin color, and he is now sitting down with a woman who is in the socioeconomic at the time considered to be normal person. I can't believe that's such a statement, but
Yeah.
it's the fact that he, even when she's telling him about Tommy, he is sat there like with a bit of distrust in his eye. You can still see that he's like, I'm still making sure that are you a good person? Are you listening to you can see it in his eye a little bit there, but you can still see
Yeah.
he is being the doctor, he is being a good man, and he is still, and I must say, I bravo to Shooty for that performance.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, definitely.
and to Varada as well, they both absolutely smashed it that episode.
Best
Oh,
best performance I felt from Shooty as his time as the
Yeah.
Doctor. Um, I feel like he's had good other performances, but I just felt like more like the Doctor in this episode. So
yeah.
like it gave me really goosebumps. As much as I haven't felt that since the toy maker made his reveal, actually.
Yeah.
When Lux was revealed, that reveal, he's like, "Tell me." I
Mm,
need to know. I mean, he
yeah.
was doing that. He's just so doctory, and I enjoyed it.
It was nice to see Shooty's doctor sort of have a bit more of a doctor moment
Have a
and
bit more
to
agency.
have look, because the thing is that Shooty's doctor like has become quite well known and associated with being like a bit of a silly slash um how can I put this in a good way?
A little bit cocky at times.
Yeah, I felt like he's not been quite as serious.
He's
It was,
too perfect. Like you
he,
look at him, he's
yeah,
got that, he's too handsome, I find at times. And like I
Yeah.
don't mean it in any offense to
yeah.
any of the previous
Yeah.
doctors,
I see what
whatsoever.
you mean though. Yeah,
But he hasn't
Yeah.
got a blemish on his face. He hasn't got a wrinkle. He hasn't got a frown line. Like it's hard to really win. Like with Capaldi, he had the frowns, he had the eyebrows and everything. But with
yeah,
Stu, as much as hard as he tries to, when he tries to like really get aggressive and everything, I'm like, oh, but I can't stay mad at you. You're just too cute. I love you.
yeah,
You're like a Care Bear, and I want you. Like, and it's that, with there's that, I was thinking about this actually earlier. I was like, Matt Smith and Ncuti Gatwa are two very different people. Like,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
it's that, and that's the thing, and it's where the whole crux of where a lot of fans go, oh, it's not the Doctor anymore and whatever. It's like, no, come on, it is, because Ncuti still does at time keep that quirkiness. Like I liked it as well in Lux when he was doing that moment when he had to do, oh, so do you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, other friend? Like he did that. Like, did anyone notice that
Yeah,
yeah,
in
yeah.
All
Lux?
right.
That was very doctory. I liked that about him. Like
yeah.
when he went other friend, like, and I was like, okay, that was silly. I was like, I like that. I like the Vindicator.
Such a good scene.
Yeah, yeah, and the use of Matt Smith's music as well was. I wonder
Yeah.
why
That
he did that.
was beautiful.
I
It was
really,
it was bizarre, wasn't it?
it was, and
I
I
didn't
you're
expect
right.
it.
But it worked
I
well for
didn't
the
have quite
scene.
sat with that. I was a bit like,
Yeah.
but it's lovely to hear again. But Murray,
Why? Yeah.
Murray, you've got on a whole open canvas, darling. Paint us a picture. Like, come and get a like. As it's his music is ineffable and the work of the gods.
That's right.
Give us more, baby.
But did you notice? I want to see if you noticed this. When he was doing the Vindicator, Amy's theme played when Belinda was speaking.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was an interesting
I
choice.
did not notice that.
it was
Yeah,
strange.
I did
I'm gonna
too.
look for that now.
yeah. Go on my TikTok after I've posted a video on it.
It
And
was a very interesting choice. I don't know why they did it, but it was interesting. It was
but
interesting.
It's one of those things where it's like it's safe to use a certain piece of music for the doc, like in the Giggle when they did a reprisal of the Shepherd's Boy. Like
yeah,
that was cool. That was like we was like,
Yeah,
yeah, okay, yeah, this is cool. But to give another companion's music, you do not go to there. You do not do that. Verida and
yeah, it felt weird.
give
but
her own music.
does does the question speak that why does she not have her own theme, Belinda?
It's got to be something about her mum. I reckon her mum's going to be Maestro.
I don't think Belinda's who she. I think Belinda's got another story to her, but it's all connected. It will be all connected in the end. I found.
It's
Um,
something around
but
there.
but when I think it was Man Man in a Box that played in the fan scene, right?
Yeah.
Did anyone feel that was too
Yeah,
loud? Did anyone think that was a bit loud, or it was
Yeah, it was
it's
a bit in your
quite low?
face, wasn't it? Yeah.
a
It
little
wasn't,
bit.
was it? It was just a dash.
Yeah, it was. I
But
liked it.
I did think like that was quite an appropriate place. If you was going to play it there, then that would be.
Yeah,
I
Like with
still
the
don't
fan
know
base. Yeah.
why. I still just don't know why.
yeah, because none of them, no, they didn't pick a Matt Smith episode. None of them wore. I think one had a Matt Smith sonic screwdriver, but really it had no relevance. If anything,
Did it make you feel slightly sickly? Like I was a bit like it's like if they played Ninth's music over an 11 scene. Like it would
yeah,
just feel blasphemous to do so. We've always
Mm.
been known that
Mm.
every Doctor has their own score. And
Yeah.
like it just feels weird. Like it left a weird.
yeah,
I was like, don't get me wrong, I have no problem. I love it. But also at the same time, that Whovian in me is like a bit like, oh you
okay.
bitch.
I actually now Mason, you've mentioned about Amy's theme with Belinda. That's now two Matt Smith soundtracks that we've got. So are we all sure that this doesn't hold any significance later?
What do you think Matt Smith's coming back?
No, I don't think Matt Smith's coming back, but could this sort of play into this whole idea of like the reality war, the Doctor, and like this and like being in a TV show, like there's false reality, that kind of stuff.
Well, when we're
Mm.
dining in the world of fantasy, as we are now, this whole 2 season has been so fantasy based.
Yeah.
Stephen Moffat brought fairy tale to Doctor Who.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it's there's got to be some kind of linkage somehow. I don't know if there's like if the crack comes back in the reality war,
Oh God, could you
I'm gonna
imagine?
I'm gonna go close that thing up. Get
Yeah.
that closed now. Back.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Um,
Imagine.
if it's a void ship, I'll be like, well, what's the point of that? Why have you brought us a void ship? Don't no. Send that back to hell now. You know, but it's how is it going? But something's not cooking.
I
However,
do.
oh,
It's interesting.
I was just going to say, Mr. Ringading, also, he does in some way knock 4 times. Did anyone notice this?
No, you
Oh,
don't
Oh no,
elaborate.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't notice. No.
Now, I'm just going to do a scene recreation with you guys. Does anyone want to play the Doctor? And does anyone want to play Belinda?
Who wants to play the Doctor?
Have
Jane?
I remember many lines?
Well, it's the kind of bit when Belinda's going, "You look like a pig. Are you supposed to be a man?"
yeah.
Oh, I don't remember all the
Oh,
lines.
all right. So
Does
I'll be
the
the
"Don't
doctor.
make me laugh.
Is
Don't make me laugh. Don't
is
make me laugh." And then he goes, "Hold on a second. Is there a reason why we
the
should
reason we're
laugh?
making you laugh.
What could that be, sir?" And he goes, "Don't make me laugh because it sounds." He knocks 4 times.
Oh
He
my
literally
God, he says it like
says,
four
"Don't
times.
make me
What?
laugh" 4 times. And I just like that. I thought it was a nice little. I just thought it was
I didn't even twig.
a nice little cake.
Yeah, I didn't
Oh,
notice that.
Tiny little. I thought it was just a double time stamp on the cerebellum for any Doctor Who fan
did you
out there.
actually think of that at the time?
No, I think it was on my second watch. I just noticed it, and I was just like, "Oh,
Ah,
that's good.
Right.
That's good."
wow.
Okay.
You're
Right.
far more observant than I am.
Yeah.
No, but we all pick up our own little things,
Yeah.
and don't we? We all do.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Mason noticed the Amy's music first. Like, I mean, like that was very well picked up on that one, dude. Like, but we all bring different notices and things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one more notice, and then I'm going to ask you all two questions, then we go on to the well. Right.
Oh,
Did we all notice what Mr. Ringerding said? Did we all notice something he said that may interline into the next episode?
oh, and I am the last thing you see before you fall into the abyss.
Yep, that. Yeah,
What do? They fall into an abyss.
yeah. They fall into the abyss. I thought
Oh
that was very
yeah.
clever.
I'm so glad that
Yeah,
yes, I've been thinking that, and I was like,
yeah,
That's
someone's gonna go, no, you're just looking
interesting.
too
Yeah.
deep
yeah,
into it, and I'll just be like, nah, but
yeah. That. Yeah, definitely. So, right. First question is, how many times has each of us watched the Lux? So, James, how many times have you watched it?
Twice.
You've watched it twice?
In the morning, yeah, about 10, half 10. And then I watched it again on Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, quite close together. And I've watched a lot of reactions to it on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Lewa? How many times?
I'd say like full run throughs about 3 times. Um, just like watching like scenes and sectors and portions, uh, probably more runtime than the actual episode itself. That's all I can say. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
Um,
so seeing so many people on social media just like talk about Doctor Who and like it is popping. It's good.
Yeah.
yeah, it
Good
really
time.
is.
What about you, Josh?
I'm the same as Lewa because I keep going back to watch certain scenes over and over again, purely because I love Mr. Ring-a-Ding as a villain, and of course as an actor, I really want to get his voice right as well because like, he's just so much fun.
Yeah. Brilliant.
He's just such a fun villain. I love him.
Yeah, he's the best villain I think Doctor Who's had in a while. Like a new one.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been a real. Do you know what? Actually, I would just like to see. I really would like to see for the reality war. Okay, the not things come back.
Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that the reality war beings, like I feel like it's all got something to do with the hollow that the toy maker was lingering in, or something like it's
Yeah.
all got something to do with the salt and the not things and something. Like, what if all of this is a bootstrap paradox and explains why the ship is in the wild blue yonder, like why it fell down the wormhole and why the ship captain died?
yes. Oh my God.
Like that would be cool. That would be
Yes.
very cool. Like Doctor Who, if you're watching this, hear my words. Hire us.
Yeah,
RTD,
please.
come on.
Yeah. All right. Last question before we go on to the well. Um. So what did we all rate the episode? So James, what did you rate it out of 10?
I've thought about this long and hard because initially I did rate it. I said it is the closest to a 10 out of 10 since The Legend of Ruby Sunday and the Giggle, but I don't think it's quite. I would put that as a 9.5.
Mm-hmm. 9.5.
Hmm.
Yeah. What about you, Josh?
I would agree.
9.5.
Only thing I'd say is that I do wish it was a little bit longer, a bit more of Lux slash Mr. Ring-a-Ding. But yeah, overall, a 9.5 out of 10.
9.5.
I like you guys a bit. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10, right? And
Yay!
I am gonna give it a 10 out of 10. And I see why you guys gave it a 9.5, right? but I will look at it with that full slice of heaven and optimism because number one, right, let's look at it in the key three principles of the BBC, which is Raytheon values, and they are to entertain, to inform, and to educate. It
Yeah.
does that perfectly. Yes, it was a bit short. However, that's a good thing for Doctor Who in sometimes because if we only ever got 50 plus minute episodes, right? Because that is, we were talking about this last week as well. And Josh, yeah, I know you've mentioned that a bit as well today, but sometimes the best Doctor Who episodes are sometimes the shortest ones. And if we get a healthy ratio throughout the series, like say if they do 3 episodes in one series, which is like, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes to 15 minutes. But if they're worthy because they can pack a punch like Lux did, if they can do it like that and it's good enough, great. But if they do need more time to tell it, like Legend of Ruby Sunday and everything like that, then great. Um, and also, I do find it gave us, if an episode can actually get us going, what is about to happen? Like when they were going, we got to go out, we got to go out. Everyone was sat there going, what the hell is about to happen right now? They did that to everyone watching that.
Mhm.
And I
They
think
did.
despite for its warts and all with how I've said about the whole they could have done it with a child and the OAP, it still had that effect more than any episode before that has come. If it has that effect on the public to go, wait, what the hell is happening? No episode has had that. No
Yeah.
episode has been so immersive to the point where it's actually had people go, what is about to happen to us
Yeah.
as people? Are they about to come out the TV? Are they about to talk through the TV to us or something? Because I thought it was going to be potentially like them just going, "Hello there, how are you doing today? No, don't mind me. My name is the Doctor. Look at you. Are you having a cup of tea? No, don't mind me." Like I thought it was going to be something like that, but they crept through it. They crept through it into another room, and I can see that being like a poster to something. Like it's going to be a poster of them three, like in watching it in the TV in the middle, right? So
Mm.
like I could see it
Yeah.
being like a silhouette poster. So them three like shadows watching it, the Doctor
Yeah.
and Linda in the TARDIS, like it behind another screen. So it goes TARDIS, fans, and then true fans. So like I could just see that being
Ah,
a great piece. Like they're all watching each other.
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
just that'd be great. I think
Yeah.
I just it was a brilliant episode. Brilliant.
oh, definitely.
It really
Absolutely.
was. It really, really was. I mean, I gave it initially 8.5 because
Oh,
I felt anything above an 8 was good. On my initial rating ranking. But I think I'm in between that and what you guys have said. Because seeing the pros and cons about it, there's more pros than cons. So yeah, the majority of people I've seen who rate it, it is a 9 or a 10. So it's a step in the right direction.
yes.
And like James has said, um, it's the closest to giggles that we've had, like top tier episode. It felt like that, and it's a much better start to the series than last year, isn't it? So, we came into last year saying it was okay, Space Baby's okay, Devil Cause was all right, but this year, right, when Robot Revolution, good starter, Lux, brilliant, and then next we got the Well. So yeah, but before we speak about the Well, right?
Yeah.
Before we speak about the Well, let's watch the next time trailer.
Just while you're loading that up, I just wanted to also note as well, there's one other thing about the gods that we haven't spoken about, and that was so with the toy maker, for him to, they have that momentary meta blip when they take the Doctor and the companion, and like they put them in that fantasy kind of trap bit, like the toy maker when he's
Yeah.
come and see the worldwide premiere. Like,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
moment when he's like, Doctor, this is for you. Everything was black. It was very theatric. It was
Yeah.
very red velvet and gorgeous. And we had a moment like that with Maestro when she goes, the sounds of a nuclear winter. Like, when she has that very classy moment, it's a very
Yeah.
backdrop, very theatric. We didn't get one for Sutek naturally because he was a very much more grandiose issue to deal with, and I
Yeah.
don't think he lacked in elegance like the others did. Like they was very musical theatre, and it was nice because I was sitting there kind of just going to myself. I was like, when are we going to get Lux's
Well,
moment of
actually,
but
You
he
say
didn't
that about
need.
Sutek.
Yeah,
Wasn't there a scene in The Empire of Death, like when Sutek and the TARDIS, the Doctor, and that were outside, by the church, and then
yeah.
Sutek was explaining about how he like clung onto the TARDIS and stuff like that. Like, could that
It
be
it could
like?
have been. It might have been. Yeah, it definitely felt like an opportunity that if they had a moment when it was just Sutek's domain, like
Yeah,
complete darkness and death,
sure.
that would have been cool to see.
Yeah.
I do see. I think that would have been their version of it. Yeah. But I was sitting there just thinking, well, where's Lux's one? He's not taken them out into a different one, or like
No.
does put them in a different dimension temporarily, but he doesn't break into it and go, like, this is my plan. But I noticed actually the correlation, the heavy correlation between the Devil's Cord and Lux. And that was that Lux and Maestro share so much in common with one another. Like they want the exact same thing. And so she wants the Maestro, she's like the sounds of a nuclear winter. So obviously, if you would imagine how the gods would destroy the universe, so she would steal the music of the spheres and make everything a mute sound. But how would she get to that point of a nuclear winter? Oh
Mm.
yeah. Who what was Lux very interested in? The light, the power of the atom bomb.
Yeah.
So I think the reality war is gonna go nuclear potentially as well in some aspect.
It's gonna go
Like
brutal.
it's gonna go brutal.
In my
If
personal opinion, Mel dies. My
I
personal
think
opinion.
Mel's gonna die. Yeah,
I,
Mel
Yeah.
I
will.
think I think we need the stakes to sort of be higher than that. I think it's because one big criticism I had of Empire of Death is that they had an opportunity. I did not want Kate Stewart to die, but it would have hit really hard if she actually did. And like it was just that was too. I felt like Lux was more of a threat than Sutek, and Sutek to me sounded like Sutek should have been more of the threat. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I felt like the stakes need to be high. It can't just be a quick little resolution like that.
No, nobody has truly died with the gods. Nobody has.
Yeah.
And that's the thing of
That's the
well, I
annoying
suppose
thing.
the only person who truly has died now I feel actually quite sad for is the bloke who was the music instructor.
Oh yeah, yeah,
He's
right at
the
the
only
start.
person.
Mm.
Because didn't the bloke who so the bloke who helped set up Stooky Bill and he bought the doll, he got returned back. We know that. He went back to
Yeah,
his
he did.
body, didn't he? So maybe they didn't throw that in, but I think what they're trying to do is carry that DNA in the Doctor that where it goes, everybody lives. Um,
Yeah.
I just this time around, especially if it's going to be this big
yeah,
reality war, I think even when they get to the resolution,
yeah.
there needs to be some collateral damage this
You
time.
need
Yeah.
permanent death.
You're go-
Yeah, that does.
you're going to have, I think, gods probably facing each other, probably, rather than maybe facing the Doctor. And I think what the whole premise of the finale may be is the Doctor finding who he actually is.
Yeah.
And because in the flux we got the Fob Watch was never seen, and through down the TARDIS. So my prediction would be to actually the Doctor's actually gonna open that Fob Watch and probably forget himself to remember himself again.
What do
So
you,
Oh,
do you reckon
do
that's what's
we
causing
think?
the true groans of the TARDIS?
yeah, I think it's a bit like that, but I feel like the Doctor will be identified as probably Mr. Smith in the reality war. You have more than one Doctor, so yeah, a bit like Journey to the World in a way, but a bit better, where you can have different Doctors from different realities. In the trailer, we saw the Doctor wearing a suit. I feel like that's not the Doctor from our universe. I feel like that's from a Doctor from a different universe and reality itself. So
Interesting.
so yeah, because in when they filmed that, right? Because I'm like I see it all. So what it said was in a controlled zone, they were all those people walking with the Doctor in that certain point in time. They were all walking like the Doctor. If you saw in the trailer, he was walking like he was controlled, or he had to walk a certain way. So in that striped suit, and he sees the dinosaur that's going to be presumably called a bone beast. So in that certain reality, the Doctor's walking like that. So I feel like something's going on in the reality war, and different realities are going to fall apart.
Oh,
Um, and it's going to be interesting. But we'll have to wait and see.
Do you reckon that there's an evil doctor at play, that one? So do you reckon
Yeah,
that could be the Valeyard?
Mm.
perhaps.
Mm.
I feel like this.
That would be interesting.
Yeah,
And the Valeyard is the true member at the heart of the Pantheon.
yeah.
Mm.
It's
No,
He
got
could be the
that
true one who waits because the only one that could wait long enough for the Doctor is the Doctor.
yeah.
Mm.
this actually sort of follows quite nicely as to a question that I was going to ask you next, because I can't help but think now we're getting all this talk of gods, we've got this timeless children thing. Is the Doctor a god?
Well, not
Mm.
our Doctor. Well, this is an organization, isn't it? This
Mm.
is
The Doctor did say in Empire Death, God of Life.
yeah.
So
Mm.
I think if anything, he would be a God of Life. Um, but in this certain scenario, I feel like I don't think that the main villain is going to be himself. But I do think it'll be part of the
Mm.
story. I do think there will be a Miss Flood, like we're saying, is going to be an accomplice to whoever there will be. I do think that whoever the villain is in the Interstellar Song Contest will just be a part of the plot, which goes a little bit further. So if they are the gods around the rock in the Interstellar Song Contest, that they will just be. I think they'll be servants of who the overlord or who the
Yeah.
actual god will be. So let's say it is Omega. It may not be. Let's say Omega's the true lord of them all. Um, the gods around the rock are their servants, and that at Omega's bidding, um, are doing this Interstellar Song Contest, and Miss Flood analyzes it because let's say Miss Flood is Omega's guardian or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it all interlined into Wish World, which we actually touched on last week. And what we said, Josh, was in the robot revolution, it felt a whole lot like that episode was um, like a wish
Mm.
for Belinda's wish, because it all felt like kind of wishful, didn't it? Like Belinda getting her own star from like
Mm.
the marriage right at the start of the episode.
And
So
so did Lux as well. Lux,
yeah,
if anything, was also like if you're a child and you go to the
yeah,
cinema and you dream that they come out of the screen at you.
yeah. So
Night
that
child's
that's how it
fantasy.
Yeah.
feels.
And also the well. If you're a child and you look at a well, you might think what lies at the bottom of there.
Yeah, but yeah,
And what lies in there would be your worst nightmare.
yeah.
Mm.
But speaking about the well, let's get on to the
There's a
well.
spider. No, there's a spider. Like that goes back to an old children's story. A long cat, like the itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. I mean, it doesn't even matter if
Yeah,
it goes into African backstory, but then you get to wish. Everything here is relating back to children heavily. A
yeah,
child's mind.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
It all is. It's all going back
All
to
leads back to space babies.
all does. All
Right,
does.
right. Like, let's watch the trailer again. I know we've all seen it, but I think it'd be nice to get our mind into the groove, into the well.
Yeah.
So,
Hopefully you don't get a copyright strike for this.
yeah, it's only a couple of seconds. Um, yeah, yeah. Well, actually, just in case it's copyright, I won't play it. Just in case. Um,
Yeah.
but for the well, so in that trailer we got two trailers, didn't we? We've got the one the Doctor Who posted was slightly different to the one we got right at the end of Lux.
Yeah.
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 So the one we got at the end of Lux showed that not a lot, but it showed that they went to the planet and the Doctor was kind of shocked of what he was facing there. And then on the trailer Doctor Who shared a little bit later was the Doctor saying to someone, "Get." Well, they couldn't see someone, could they? But Belinda saying, "I can't see someone in a room." Um, there's a bit where
Well, I think
they all went mad, didn't they? They all went mad, and then we saw someone flying. We saw someone flying that looked like it was nothing.
Would you
We didn't see anyone touching them, so yeah,
would you like to hear that little theory about the well that I've
yeah,
been keeping between
yeah.
time?
Give us your theory.
Yeah,
Go on
please.
then, Louis.
Please give
Let's
us
hear
your
it.
theory.
If the well follows the route of midnight, right? And as I theorized before, if the extonic star has been burnt up, and potentially they could also add into the reason how the star has been burnt up now, because potentially with a new god of light, he diluted the star down enough so it died. Potentially that could be a nice little reason. So the extonic star has died down and the planet has now become an abundant wasteland just for mining. Anyway, they get to it, and there is now a new character come out, and the actress's name is May Ellis, I think,
Yeah,
who stutter like she has a vocal impediment where she has a stutter, sadly, and you know when it works to something like that, I was thinking about. And she's an incredible performer. She's if you've ever seen any of her previous work, oh my God, Doctor Who is in for a treat. Let me tell you that now. But like she has done some short horrors in the past that I
yeah,
now if this is about the Midnight Monster that repeats everything, and I think based on her outfit, I think she is one of the people who gets possessed. I don't know how that might work with how a midnight. I feel like she is going to start the episode off with a vocal stutter as like that is just who she is. Like, you know, because they're trying to educate people about the world as well today and how these things shouldn't affect people and it people make it seem as like a big problem. And you know,
Mm.
it's great now that we're getting these wonderful actors coming out into the world who are actually like, no, I can perform just because there's something else here. Doesn't make it a problem. And I love that. But I feel like they might lean into it that she's been suffering with it all her life and she can't communicate to people that well. And I feel like she might get possessed by the Midnight Monster and then she will be able to relay everything perfectly. And it will make it 10 times more of a scare factor for people.
Brilliant.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they go down that route, it's a very dangerous route to go down because it really could unnerve some people. But if that is the route that they go down, damn, that could be a groundbreaking taboo breaking episode for the show. Oh my
Yeah.
God, that would do wonderful bits. Like, oh, that would be incredible. Like, and then, you know, I think the true fact that, and also as well, the old saying of the poison in the well as well. Maybe it's her speech impediment which kills the Midnight Monster.
yeah. Do, do
Mm.
you do you think um do you think she gets possessed before the others arrive to the well, or do you think it's while it goes on?
No, because I think she's the only survivor. I think she's the only survivor. I think she's the only
Oh,
person that because her outfit is completely different from the rest of everyone else. They've all got the space suits on.
Yeah,
So I think she's the lonely person stuck down the well, um, as well as the Midnight Monster. So when they meet her or something, or like there's going to be this thing, this great big thing potentially that she can speak perfectly to them, and then they
mm.
go back to the CCTV footage and she's got a stutter
Mm.
or something like that, and then he's going to go, wait, hang on a second, wait, listen to the track, listen, or something like that, and it's gonna vibrate on something like that to that. I
yeah,
just thought because
Interesting.
if you listen to her voice, I don't know what her impediment's name is because there's such a vast range of how these different things. Because I was born mute,
Yeah,
I couldn't speak until I was about 5. So it's one of these things of it really would do. Like I've always wanted a vocal issue tackled on Doctor Who on such a big thing like this.
yeah, definitely.
You
That
know
would
what I
be a
mean? Like
very good way to do it.
it would really like I'm hoping that this is actually what it's about. Really am. Like because it could go somewhere wonderful with this.
That's and this is the way I think that Doctor Who needs to sort of tackle things like this because something like that is brilliant because it will like you said it's taboo breaking and stuff like that, but they do it in a way which is excellent for the plot. And that is what I loved so much about RTD's era the first time round.
Mm.
That it never steered away from the story, if that makes sense. You know, it kind of did tackle both at the same time. And that's what I liked about it. That idea that you've come up with there, I think even as an adult would probably give me the chills.
Yeah, and it's because it's
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
well, yeah, it's because it's just one of those things of like the show needs to evolve in this way, and it's I
Yeah.
think that it would be a healthy canon for the show. I think that
Yeah.
really would.
Like in
My other one was it's the Mara, but I'm straying away from the Mara now. I don't think it is the
Mhm.
Mara.
like like in the trailer, in the second trailer that Disney Plus released a while ago, like before the series started, the Doctor said, "I've been here before, and I've never been so scared in my life." He said that, um, and it could be many things, couldn't it? But the one thing the Doctor's face, and he does not know what it is, and he was scared. He was scared. He was petrified when he went back to Donna, and Donna copied him for a joke. He didn't like it. So
Yeah.
he didn't
Mm.
like it. He didn't know what to do. So now it would make sense because on the surface of Midnight, the Doctor, nothing lives there, right? Nothing. So it begs the question: wherever they are, if they're at a colony base,
Yeah.
right? So it could be Midnight. It could be in another. Well, how's he got there? So how is the Doctor going to identify that this is the exact entity or an evolved version of it that he faced before?
Well, this is the thing, and
Mhm.
well, I mean, obviously, if this thing if it's evolved to a point, but it's still recognizable that all it does is repeat. For starters, if that's the first thing that it does, he will know to pick up on that very quickly. However, I have just thought about something. If he was right, okay, midnight, and this would go on to like current world issues at the moment. There's been this whole thing. I mean, like despite the arachnids in the UK went over the same topic, and it's basically so many leisurely places build themselves on top of absolute death traps,
Yeah.
right? And it's that Midnight does the same thing. So obviously, if Midnight at the time when the Extonic Star was also being bought, like if it was still there, they still would have been able to mine it potentially because it's a planet of pure diamond.
Yeah.
Planet of pure diamond. Like you would want to mine that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You
Mm.
would. So what if the well is the mine shaft? Like that is the very first midnight mine shaft, and that
Yeah.
is where the midnight monster crept out from. And when the doctor beat it and it got flown through the airlock, it went home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Hide it time.
Yeah.
Maybe the
Wow.
flux, maybe the flux killed the star or something. Maybe that might come into play or something. Who knows?
Oh.
Right. I have a theory.
Go on.
We see multiple people on their own in the mine shaft. So, and the lady, who you mentioned earlier, um, who has a with a speech,
I'll find the actor's
uh,
name.
um, and she said they were mad, right? That they went mad. I don't think we're facing one entity here. I think we're facing multiple
Hmm.
entities, not just
Oh.
one.
What
Uh,
of the same type?
It's
yeah,
Or
yes, of the same type, but multiple. Because one
Mm.
entity is going to take one. So you could see Belinda in the trailer. She's on the floor.
No, you've just said
Yeah.
it. You've just said it, Mason. No, hang on. What happens when right? So what is the Midnight Monster in when we saw it in Midnight? What was it?
the person, isn't it?
But
Like the
but it
Mm.
was not really there, was it? It was more
No.
like
A shadow.
or like a shadow, right? And when you're on a planet which is literal diamond and playing with light, say if a shadow went underneath a rock of diamond, and the light hit diamond, it multiplies.
Oh,
Mason, you might be right. Maybe
Ooh.
it went back in the well and the light multiplied it, and this thing has grown into a family.
okay.
That could be cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dude,
I
you
like
are
that idea.
hot on there. I like
Yeah.
that.
It's either that or we're so completely wrong and it's the devil.
No, no, no. You know what it is? It is either that
Or the devil.
or Russell T Davis needs to hire us.
Yeah.
In it.
Right. Right. If we come back next week and we are wrong, which I don't think we are, because the devil. The only reason I say the devil is because the devil in the the what's the episode? The Satan Pit and the other one.
What on
Russell
crop
And
tour?
the,
Yeah. So when the
As long as
devil,
they say if the planet is called crop tour, then we're fine.
yeah.
But
So
we're called,
yeah.
this one's called 6767, isn't it?
yeah.
Hmm.
So I think the only way it being the devil is I imply that is because of the well, and the well is a similar concept to the devil in the pit, and when they say it's gone mad, yeah, the Ood gone mad, so that's what that implies. So I think it's either I think the only two options are it's the midnight entity which you can't see, or it's the devil, but I don't think it is. And other suggestions that have been made is the flood, but I don't think it is the flood. The only way of looking at it as the flood is the base, maybe a little similar, empty. But I don't. I'm ruling the flood out, and the only two options are the devil
Hmm.
or the entity.
So this actor here, I don't know if you can see her.
Yep,
Yeah.
So she is
Oh, yeah.
the impediment, and her name is Rose Eiling Ellis,
you're right.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's her.
and her name is Alice as the character.
Rose Eiling. I do. Oh,
Yeah.
I can't believe I've only just twigged that.
So she's going to be in it, and she's the survivor. We know that she is the survivor at the pit, and I just in the well, and I just the fact that because she is known for being an actor who has been able to look at the industry and go, impediment what?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if they wanted someone, an actor who was so good to take on the role of a midnight monster who could do something so perfectly and tell the whole public speech impediments mean nothing to us, come at us.
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
yeah. So in contrast to Midnight and what Sky, right? In
Yeah.
contrast to Sky, so tell us within your theory.
Yeah.
Let's say it is speech that it takes, and it is the same this time. What differences, or what is gonna not differences? What is gonna be to make it for the audience to identify that she's changed her personality, and for us as an audience are gonna look at that and say that is the entity.
Well, but that's the good question, isn't it? Because obviously, people the last time that we saw the Midnight Entity was in the form of Mrs. Sky Silvestri. But naturally, when the host that we never learned the name of killed her, the body perished by the extonics radiation. So the Midnight Entity
Yeah.
must have exited out of her and crept back
Lived
home.
on. Yeah.
And this thing has just been gestating and festating and just waiting for someone else to pick it up again. So if it's learnt its lesson the first time, it's going to get greeted like this thing would have left the body knowing how to talk to people now. It's learnt from humanity, it's learnt the base imprint. So when it's greeted by a team of people, and I just find it interesting that she is the only person to survive, and she is the potentially, this is the thing. There was a crew of other people. She is an actor who is notable and reputable for a vocal like impediment. The rest of the team all died. She didn't. So the Midnight Monster couldn't kill her because it couldn't assimilate to her.
They couldn't speak properly.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And I think the whole episode is going to be about the whole basis of the Midnight Monster could have, but it chose not to. Why? What's the problem with her? She's a human being. Like, why wouldn't it want that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that might be, I don't know, but the whole,
What if?
she's
What
the only survivor.
what if it is not speech this time? What's this?
It might be
Yeah.
movement now.
What if?
Ooh.
Because in that trailer, next time trailer, right?
Oh, but she speaks in sign as well.
Yeah,
She
that's the
speaks in
thing.
sign.
Yeah.
Oh.
She
Yeah.
speaks in sign. So maybe she spends the entire time repeating what people are saying in sign
Sign
language.
language.
And maybe the doctor
Oh.
doesn't know that. So whenever he's talking, she's just quietly in the corner repeating.
Yeah.
And
In
it takes them
sign
too
language.
long to notice until it finally strikes. And that's what the whole episode is about.
Do we think the
Yeah.
Doctor could get possessed again?
I would love to see that. I would
I
love
can
to.
Is he possessed?
I can see the Doctor being possessed because if we look in the end of the next time trailer, we could see the exact face David Tennant did,
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
and I yeah, the exact face David Tennant did, and I've done a post. I'm going to do a post that there's a parallel of every single shot that kind of
Yeah.
confirms the Midnight Entity because we look at it, we see how close they are, and if you look at David Tennant and Sky, look how close they were. So I think, but I do think others will get possessed, not just her. But I saw a
Yeah.
picture. I saw a
The,
picture.
the rest of the so you've got the mining team. She's the only survivor of that. So they all got possessed, but they're all dead.
Mm.
The crew of the blue suit people, whatever we're going to call them, the extraction squad, they're gonna get possessed. A few of them will die, a few of them will get possessed. I think that's how it's gonna run.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I do like the fact as well. I just think it's going to be quite fun. I'm envisioning like how the episode's going to start because it starts with I think they've got to like they're either going to land on the spaceship and the doctor's got the Vindicator with him and he goes, right,
Yeah.
okay, I just need to make base. I need to touch a planet. I need to figure out where I am. And that's why they have to make the jump with them, with the squad. So he goes, do you mind if I
Yeah.
go review suits? I just need to take a quick scan. Whatever you're doing, just let us do our thing. And then when you get back, that'll be fine. They all make the jump. Like Belinda's had a great time doing it. He's whacked in the Vindicator, and then they all go into the mine shaft, and then like he just goes, but we could pop in with them. Something like that, maybe. Might be a quick, fun little one.
Yeah.
But they know that they're not gonna. There's no chance back to the TARDIS with for them until whatever happens on this
Yeah.
planet happens.
I think whatever happens on this planet is going to really creep Belinda out, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
going to really affect her. And then it works pretty well with the premise as well, because I do think we're going to get a time jump at some point, probably from episode 4, which would really fit with the premise of the series, because I think you're going to be back in time in the past and future in that episode. So, yeah, I think this episode has the whole. If it's as good as Midnight is, and if what Lewis said today, if that happens, it's
We
a
need to
10
get
out of
TikTok.
10.
We need to get TikTok in these
So
theories.
this
Yeah, it's a
that episode
10
is already
out of
going to be a
10.
10 out of 10 before
Right.
it's in.
If
Yeah.
it is, right?
That is a 10 out of 10 theory
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Lewis.
If
Yeah.
it
It really
happens,
is. Really is.
if it happens the way you say, it's better than a giggle. It's the best episode of the series at the moment. Yeah, I think it's going to be a blast. But yeah, I saw a picture of the soldiers communicating, like they have some like the written words of what Rose is saying on their like they're having these like automatic like shield
And
things.
yeah, they get the translator shields.
Yeah, like the translator
Yeah.
shields, and what she says goes there, which will be interesting. So say the doctor's speaking, Rose is saying the same thing,
In
right?
sign
Um,
language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting because it depends on what point in time they are. Are they before midnight or after? So
Yeah.
that's what you got to
Oh,
think. If
hang
it's the
on.
very start of the entity, then it's just learning, and then
You
Yeah,
did no, Mason. You've just pointed that out, mate. You've just pointed that out. This goes
But
more to
then,
the theory now, because that's how it's going to announce itself to the Doctor is the via the translator shield. So this thing is, it's like she is the trap. Alice is the trap. So that going back to that whole thing, I've just seen an empty room. There's nothing there. There's nothing stood there. So she's hiding there the entire time. They're seeing words being picked up on the screen, but they might not know where it's coming from until it's too late. So like they're going,
Yeah.
where are these words coming from? Like no one's speaking. Like who? No, is anyone? Are you talking? And like they're never going to pick up that she's just doing sign language surreptitiously.
Mm.
yeah.
And it could be like, "Hello again, my old friend. I met you once before," or something like that. Maybe it might go, or like it won't. It might be this thing might. I don't even know how it won't. Would it be able to go, Doctor? Did it ever hear it? Oh, it knows him. It knows him now. It scanned his brain. It got a good glimpse of who the Doctor was.
mm,
But this time, how will it be defeated? You can't be jumping out planes this time.
Maybe this time instead of this time
Yeah.
of parasitical work, it's more infective work. So maybe instead they want to hear what Alice has to say, and she's the midnight monster. Instead, maybe when she actually tells them and they're watching so carefully, it spreads into them as well. And they all start speaking with the sign language as well, potentially.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine that if the whole crew are saying the same thing or exactly the same time.
that
That would
would
be
be
really, really cool.
creepy.
I
That would
think
be.
it's going to be brilliant. I think, but the only thing is, right? Before we finish, the only thing is that we don't want to see the entity.
No, no,
And we
no.
don't want to
No,
see
not
it.
in its own body. Yeah.
No,
No, no, you have made a very diamond rule right there, my friend. Well, I've never wanted to see the true
no.
form of this thing. It is like the page being ripped out of a book. We do not see it. Never, ever. We've
But
had
And then
angels
that
moving. No.
opens up also the possibility of another episode again in the future
Yeah.
of the entity.
I've got another idea, right? I've got a really good idea. What if we see the entity in the premise of its capturer? So, for example, if it catches Rose or the Doctor, you see the entity in their brain. You see the entity speaking to them. So what they would be saying. So you're in the sense of like in a third person kind of point of view of how the person's getting controlled by the entity. That's another thing that
Oh, that's a good perspective.
yeah. So you can see what it's like for them because all we're seeing is the copying, but
Right, that's an interesting concept. I thought you were going somewhere else with that, but yeah.
yeah. So just in the sense of how it affects the user,
Yeah.
So you
like
see it
Yeah.
from you see the episode from their point of view. Is that what you
yeah,
mean?
yeah, a bit
Yeah.
like what was
Oh,
that? I forgot the episode, the Peter Capaldi episode where he was just in third person the whole time.
tell me
Um,
more.
but in this sense, you're seeing like maybe the entity speaking to the host.
Do you reckon that there could be a potential that he's evolving the Midnight Monster in its stakes to become a new Pantheon member? Maybe this is the god of shadows.
I don't know.
Ooh,
I think as much as
I
that would
like
be
that idea.
that would be good, but and then you'll just get to the sense that every episode's going to be a
Yeah.
Panther member.
Yeah, that's
I tell you who would be the god of shadows if they ever went there.
it would be Sutek, wouldn't it?
Vash Narada, right?
Ashton
Oh
Narada.
yeah, the Bastion Arada.
Yeah.
That's another thing people thought this episode was about
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
the Vash Narada. But I'm dead on the dot. If it's not a Midnight Entity, I'm just going to be disappointed. But
Oh
I
yeah,
want it.
same. I just want it to be our boy. I got
Yeah,
it.
Oh
It's got to
boy.
be. No, it's got to be.
right. I've like
Do you know? Actually, this is a bit of a trivial question for you guys. This before we sign off as well. Do you know what inspired Russell T Davis to write Midnight?
No.
No.
No, Josh, do you know?
No, I don't.
I
So,
I
oh,
I know it was done on a very low budget, and
it was.
yeah, it was done on a very low budget, and I know the way they filmed it. So basically, you know the when they're tilting sides, they're basically just running to one
Yeah,
side and then they're running to another side. It's done really cleverly, um, and you know when you see Midnight and then the Sky and the Doctor speaking like at the same time.
Yeah.
Not all the sequences are speaking at the same time. They just edit it really well.
Oh, nice. I didn't know
Yeah.
that bit. Well,
Yeah.
okay, I thought it was a
Yeah,
bit harmonic. But...
because you know when they see that really long word, like the math equation,
Yeah, the
like
square root of pi is 3.142. Yeah, and they have to do
yeah,
that all.
yeah. So Sky couldn't do it, like the actor who plays
Yeah.
Sky. They found it really difficult. So one was doing it one way, then one was doing it another way. Then they just patched it together. So they did do some bits together, but they didn't do all bits together.
That's good. I
Ooh.
like that.
Yeah,
Ah,
but yeah, go on to what you're saying, though.
the inspiration for Midnight comes from Star Trek. Now, I'm not a big Star Trek fan. Actually, I've never really watched many episodes of it. I don't knock it, but I've just, my heart's with two hearts. And basically, it comes back from an old episode called Dogma, from Star Trek, where the crew show up and they meet a creature which is never there, but it's also some form of polymorph, and it's able to mimic perfectly and um, replicate. So if we understand that that's the inspiration, the Midnight Entity is the mimic monster of Doctor Who. That's all we ever need to know about it, is the mimicry god, or like, well, not god, but like, if it was to own any aspect of Doctor Who, it's mimicry. So in any
Yeah.
shape that takes, it's their game. And I think, with everything that we've spoken about this season, no, this episode, with hands signals and translator discs and movement and symphony of people moving around, I think that's got to be a very good sandbox for a Midnight Monster.
Yeah.
I think we've all
Yeah.
got our hearts and heads and souls set
Yeah.
on it. Doctor Who, if you're watching this,
Hire
let
us.
down.
Yeah,
Hire us.
please.
Hire us, absolutely, as Mason said, but don't let us down. We've waited since 2008 for Midnight Part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame there's no midnight release because it's coming now.
Oh,
Yeah. But before we go, guys, Lewa and Josh, do you still want to do the Mr. Ring-a-Ding to finish off?
do you want to try?
Yeah.
Should we try? If I bring, if I'll give us a rendition of yours first, and then I'll go after you, my good sir.
Yeah. I'm Mr. Ring-a-Ding. I make your heart bells sing. Please don't make me laugh. Just take my autograph. So take my jokes, my lovely folks. Because I know just one thing. Because I am he. Oh, yes. I'm Mr. Ring-a-Ding. I can't do it in full, but thank you very much.
Bravissimo, darling. Oh,
Oh, shut up.
you want one as well now, don't you? Right, okay. Just to open my diaphragm a bit, I'm going to stand. Do you want it on the bell? Do you want it on a little bit of a Mr. Ring-a-Ding jump out as well?
Oh, that'll be fun.
Well,
Go
yeah,
then, Lewa.
jump out.
The floor is yours.
I'm gonna do a little jump out for you as well. All right. Get out.
Ah.
Right. I'm Mr. Ring-a-Ding, I'll make your heart bells sing. Don't make me laugh, just sign my autographs. Now play my jokes, my lovely folks, cause I know just one thing, for I am he, oh yes, I'm Mr. Ring-a-Ding.
Brilliant work.
Thank you. The
Brilliant work.
vibrato is a little bit shaky at the moment.
Bravo, both of you.
Brilliant work. Really, really good. Love it.
Don't spoil my surprise.
Don't spoil my surprise.
Yeah. We've done really good, guys. We've done really good.
That was
It
good
was
fun.
fun. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you, Josh, for coming on.
Of course. Been my
This week.
pleasure.
It's been a pleasure to meet you, Josh.
Yeah, mate, and you.
It's been absolutely lovely, Josh, to meet you,
It's
man.
been